Welcome to another exciting episode of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev, and today we've lined up an amazing show. We are test driving the brand new Suzuki Baleno. But first things first, let's check out the highlights of today's show. This week on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we take a look at the funky Suzuki Baleno refreshed for 2020. We analyze its unique design language, practical interiors that drip with technology, and not forgetting its fuel-efficient engine that offers the best of both worlds. Catch this and much more only on Cars with Big Boy Trev every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. only on KTN Home. Now this is the key to Suzuki's brand new Suzuki Baleno, and prices starting at Kenya shillings 2 million. Do you reckon it's the absolute value for money in as far as hatchbacks are concerned? Let's start this review by taking a look at the profile of this particular car. So as you can see, the design face of this particular car is very edgy, it's modern, it's catchy, and it's targeted to the younger generation where the Baleno sits very comfortably. And as you can see, you do have a V motif design with the Suzuki logo on the slated grille, and of course the quadratic headlamps, which makes this car have that visual appeal. Look at the lower bumper. As you can see, again, Suzuki are trying to make this Baleno very sporty. As you can see, the front dam air splitters again reveals that this particular car has that athletic stance that many other hatchbacks have in the segment, including the Volkswagen Polo. Now let's take a look at the side profile. Now this is where matters become very interesting. What Suzuki have done is basically create a design that is very unique to the Baleno. Now, as you can see, it has a sort of bulging fender, and of course cut out with this particular 16-inch rims makes this car very sexy and sporty. Moving along to the side, as you can see, less creases on the body profile, and as you can see, this hip line is lower enough to ensure that there is enough light that gets into this particular car. Now, as you can see, the chrome tips on the lower seals and on the door handles creates this car a je ne sais quoi feeling, making it look very premium. Now, as you move to the back, and this silhouette where it is a hatchback and it's slanting, it has that sporty feel. You actually feel like you're driving a sporty hatch, and that is the name of the game in this particular category. At the back, as you can see, because of the coupe sort of styling, the rear back is slanting slightly lowards to ensure that this particular car just revealed that it's a hatchback. With this chrome tip over here that is on the back panel of this Suzuki Baleno, again giving this car that je ne sais quoi we keep on talking about. This adds a touch of fineness. Very rarely would you get a vehicle with this particular category with such styling. Again, as you can see, Suzuki logo and of course the Baleno indicating that this particular car has been redesigned for 2020. Now the bumper, as you can see, again massive. This hides a massive cavity that you're going to find out later on. This car actually is very practical. You can carry quite a number of things, including a 90 kg sack with ease. Well, that's just a tenth of the story. It's time to check out the cabin. How practical is this cabin? How comfortable is it? What features does it have? Join me as I do a review of the cabin courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trev. So guys, you've seen from the walk around the subtle styling that Suzuki has employed on the Baleno, and it's also found on other Suzuki models that we've tested on Cars with Big Boy Trev, including the Ciaz and of course the Ertiga Swift and the Jimny. Now, matters are not different inside, so step inside and have a look at the Baleno. Now this Baleno has been designed in such a way to create an illusion of space. Like I've mentioned earlier, Suzuki are renowned to create spaces where there are none, and in this car matters are exactly the same. In fact, it is so spacious, I am amazed at how big this car is. Now, let's start with the dashboard. As you can see, now this one-piece design has a forward cab design that allows you to have more space, so the front passengers have enough leg room, and of course they're able to feel free. And of course the use of lighter materials just to create that airiness in the cabin is so important. Now, top side of the dashboard, of course, you do have some swooping lines that meet in the middle, and of course there is a center console, which is the highlight of this whole dashboard. Now this center console actually houses a 10-inch multicolor display unit that has all the bells and whistles you can ever think of. Right below the multimedia interface system lies the climate control system that actually, as you can see from the design, they are converging in the middle, and of course there's a circular screen that is monochrome that allows you to see the different temperature variations that you're able to execute with this AC.
Now, right below the AC is a gearbox console that actually is very practical. This being a hatchback means practicality is the name of the game. So there's plenty of cubby holes and spaces that allows you to be flexible. You can actually put 2 cup holders and you can put your cell phone right at the end, and of course you can also charge it using a 12-volt socket that is standard. You can charge your devices, and of course USB and an auxiliary port that allows you to be flexible if you're a person with an iPod and you want to connect the system and listen to good music, good tunes, courtesy of this Baleno. Now, moving over to the instrument pinnacle, again Suzuki have tried to ensure that the driver is able to see all the visual graphics with ease without taking their eyes off the road. Now, the italics are clear and precise, spaced out, again to give that visual representation. You have on the left hand side the tachometer, on the right hand side you have the speedometer, and in between you have a monochrome display that gives you stuff like, for example, if the door is open, range, and of course gives you your driving style, the driving style ergonomics of this particular car. Again, you can also select the torque, but you can actually see the amount of torque that is being applied to the front wheels, and it's just a subtle difference that gives this car that je ne sais quoi. Now, as you can see, Big Boy is quite comfortable. The seats are supportive. Lumbar support is amazing, and I can tell you for a fact that anybody sitting in the Baleno would feel very comfortable, especially during long journeys. And just to make matters better, you can adjust the steering wheel based on your taste and preferences. So it is tilt and telescopic just to fit your preferences. So if you're a big person like myself or a small person, you're able to adjust the seating comfort very easily to allow you to control the Baleno at any given situation, at any given time. Well, that said, it's time now to check out the multimedia information system. Then I'll move over to the back, check out the practicality of the first row seating, if there's enough leg and headroom, go to the boot and see how much space it has, and then you take it to the road, courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trev. So guys, we're taking a look at Suzuki Baleno's multimedia information system that comes as standard in this particular car. Now, as far as functionality is concerned, it is placed right up there with the rivals such as the Volkswagen Polo and many others that are coming across into the country. But today we start focusing on this functionality. So the first thing that I do love about this system is the fact that it is high definition. There is no other brand that actually has a high definition screen at this price point. So Suzuki are giving people value for money, and it is no exception in the Baleno. So the first thing that I can tell you that this particular system actually has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay functionality. And to test that, we're going to find out right now. I'm just going to plug in my phone, which is an Android phone, and see the functionality. So I've plugged it in already, and I'm going to ask it and command it to give me a few things. So for example, what is the temperature like today?
Today in Nairobi, expect a high of 23 and a low of 16.
So guys, what you've just seen is how Android Auto works on this particular system. What Google have done is to create seamless connectivity between yourself, your laptop, your computer, your tablet, and into the car, and you're able to connect and see. So it swipes along your whole ecosystem, and you're able to be very practical. It doesn't matter where you are. So for example, this particular car will give you information of where you are. It will navigate you, and of course it will also read your messages, respond to them, and of course make calendar dates in case you're going for a meeting, or in case you forget. It will remind you. That's the beauty of technology, because now it is getting into our lives. It is becoming more productive. So this productivity is very good on Android Auto, which is supported by Android phones. However, if you have an Apple iPhone, you can be able to connect using Apple CarPlay again. It will give you similar functionality or slightly better, and depends on the software of this particular car. It's very fast, very easy to use, and of course it allows you to drive the car safely without toggling through your phone or pressing the buttons over there. That is so important. Now, apart from that, you're able to connect and listen to your music or listen to your files via an SD card that's right on top of the screen. And of course, you have USB connectivity right here where you connect either your flash disk or connect your phone via the cable. Again, if you want to connect your phone via Bluetooth, there's that option as well. You're able to connect your phone so that you can pair it and listen to music, or even pick calls or answer calls. That is so important in this day and age, being practical, and the target audience has been well catered for in the Baleno. So practicality here is the name of the game. You can even play some of the audio files or visual files in high definition, and you won't be stressed. So imagine having a road trip with this Baleno, and there are 4 people or 5 people. You're able to enjoy the functionality of this particular system. Notwithstanding, it has a good 6-speaker audio system that churns out clear treble and bass notes. So if you're an audiophile like myself, then you'll be able to enjoy Fali, Pupa, or any other African or Sauti soul via this system. Again, that's something that Suzuki have done to ensure that they give maximum value for money when you're buying the Baleno. Moving over to the back seat, and I can tell you Big Boy is quite comfortable. There's plenty of space in the back seat of the Baleno. Let's start with the sitting comfort. As you can see, Big Boy is very comfortable. The seat in front of me is set to my height, which is 6'1", and I'm at the back, and I can tell you legroom is still fantastic. However, because of the coupe styling, the headroom is small, but it's fine. If you're less than my height, then you'll be perfectly fine in the Baleno. As you can see, the seats actually has 3 headrests, but I think this particular car can seat 3 average size adults or 2 big adults. Then in the middle, you can have some space here for something. Again, something I do like about this particular car is the safety aspect. They've thought about putting seat anchors on each seat. So you can actually put a child seat in this particular car, plug it in, and you're able to ensure that your child is safe while in the back seat of the Baleno. That is so important. Again, 3-point seat belts across the seats just to ensure that everybody who's seated at the back is belted to ensure maximum safety of the Baleno. How flexible is the back seat? Now, the back seat splits 60-40 to ensure that you're able to accommodate enormous cargo or irregular cargo like skis or poles or whatever. But if you need more space, then you can literally put the whole seat down and create more space where you can carry large stuff like a fridge or whatever it is you're carrying. It could be sacks of potatoes if you're going up country, it could be anything. That means that the particular space of the Baleno is so practical for anybody who's starting a young family. Or if you're solo and you need to carry a lot of stuff, then the Baleno is the car for you. But just to confirm that, we need to go to the boot and see how much space the Baleno has. So moving over to the boot, when you open, it reveals a large and deep cavity. This is something not seen on the current hatchbacks of today. Now, from visual representation, this looks like it can carry a full sack of 90 kg potatoes. But in its native form, you can actually carry 2 big suitcases, or if you need more space, you can literally lie flat the back seat to create more room. So you can carry stuff like a fridge, a cooker, or anything else that requires plenty of space.
This week, we focus on the top 5 used imports with the best resale value in Kenya. Number 5, the Toyota Premio. For over 20 years, it has defined why Toyota as a brand has good value. Its sturdy build quality, spacious interior, and the fuel-efficient Valve-matic engine range makes it irresistible. The availability of affordable spare parts also plays a big role in making the Premio a contender in this segment. With a strong resale value, its current market prices range between 1 and 1.6 million shillings. Number 4, the Subaru Forester. This hugely popular crossover gains its popularity courtesy of Subaru's rally heritage and DNA. This practical family crossover shares its underpinning with the rally-bred Subaru Impreza and boasts the symmetrical all-wheel drive and legendary Boxer engine. Prices for the Subaru Forester range from 1.4 million to 2.4 million depending on the specification of each vehicle. Number 3, the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. This vehicle is considered a status symbol by very many Kenyans due to its sheer size and imposing stature. With over 60 years of heritage, the Prado shares its platform with the Toyota Hilux, and the legendary sturdiness has withstood the test of time. Prices for the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado start at 5 million shillings and can range all the way up to 10 million shillings. Number 2, the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class sets the bar in the compact executive segment, fighting it out with the likes of the BMW 3 Series and the Audi A4. The C-Class chassis is the strong point here, delivering sharp handling that is well matched with the performance from the range of its available engines. With prices starting from 1.6 million, it is a sure way of making a statement. Number 1, the Volkswagen Polo. This well-built German machine comes from a lineage full of heritage and is loved by many due to its build quality, great engine, and tons of technology on board. Being a hatchback, practicality is the name of the game here, and Volkswagen engineers have packaged it to be as practical as possible. Prices for used Volkswagen Polos start between 800,000 shillings to 1.2 million shillings, with its main rivals being the Toyota Vitz and the Mazda Debut. Hi guys, and welcome to CBBT maintenance segment. It's a hot sunny day and it's an incredible thing because today we are talking about cooling. Just like yourself, the car does need to keep cool to make sure that it does operate efficiently. As you're aware, of course, an internal combustion engine is effectively a series of explosions happening within this big metal box that you have here, and that creates a lot of heat. So in every car that there is, you need to take that heat outside, and that's where the radiator comes in. So what the radiator is basically a heat exchanger. Water flows through the engine out into the radiator, and the radiator meets with cool air and cools the engine down. So just not completely, but to make sure that it's in the range that allows it to work effectively. Now, that's not the only radiator on some cars. On the AMG 63S that we tested the other day as a performance car, it has, in addition to the car's radiator, a radiator for the oil. And on top of that, on some serious off-road applications, when guys have pimped their cars to go off the road, they'll actually have a separate radiator to keep the diff oil cool. So it's important to note that very many parts of the cars are also very hot, and they need to be cooled down. On high performance vehicles, you have something called an intercooler. It's called an air-to-air intercooler. All that is doing is cooling the air before it gets into the engine. So whereas a radiator for a car is trying to keep the engine block in its most efficient temperature, that is cooling the air even before it comes into the engine. So in terms of maintenance, most of the time when you're doing your normal check on the way to a safari on the road, when the guy's opened and is asking you, "Kaa mbele iko sawa?" all you're doing nowadays in these cars is checking the level of the coolant. Nowadays, you're not opening the radiator itself to check how much water there is in that unless something has gone terribly wrong. So what you're doing is checking out the level of the coolant, which in this car is in the front next to the radiator. It's not the same location in all cars, so you need to check your own car's manual to see where exactly that is and how you'll check out how the levels are. In terms of coolants, there are very many coolants that are sold by very many companies. You can buy that on your own, or you can ask your service center representative which is the best for you. So all you're doing is just opening, checking the level of the coolant, making sure it's in the right position and everything is okay, and you should be able to go on your safari and make sure things are fine. For the cooling system, generally, you don't have too much focus on that unless when you're looking at the temperature on the inside of the car and you notice things are thick, that's when now you need to check in, take it to service and see what's going on.
So guys, today we are sampling the brand new Suzuki Baleno Refresh for 2020, and I know you're wondering, what makes it so special? So I'm going to give you the ingredients that makes this car what it is. One of the best, efficient, yet fun cars to drive. Now, let's start with the engine now. Up front, you do have a Suzuki sourced engine, K14B. It is a specialized engine that has been enhanced to give you good fuel efficiency and good power response. So basically, it's a 16-valve, 4-cylinder petrol engine with multi-point fuel injection and of course variable valve timing. Now this allows this car to produce 68 kilowatts at 4,500 RPM and 130 Newton meters of torque, and that power is sent to the front wheels courtesy of a 4-speed automatic. Well, you're like, okay, 4-speed automatic is a bit old school, but listen, that 4-speed automatic has been tuned to ensure that you have maximum efficiency, and of course the gearing allows this car to be very peppy at certain RPMs. And that is very important because when you're zipping through city traffic, you need that mid-range torque that can only be given by a well-spaced out gearbox. So basically this 4-speed automatic learns and mimics your driving style to ensure that you're able to achieve a good fuel economy figure of exactly 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. And if you want to give it the beans like now, okay, now You can feel it. It's hanging on to the lower gears to give me maximum torque. And then if I tap down again, it switches to the higher gears to ensure that I have maximum fuel efficiency. So guys, we're going to talk about the chassis and handling of this particular car. So basically the chassis of the Baleno is called the Hardtech chassis. It's by Suzuki and it's scalable architecture. It's also found on the Swift, on the Ertiga, and of course the Seal that we sampled earlier on. Now the advantages of this chassis, it is modular. So basically it is extended or reduced depending on the model variation. Now the advantage of that is that you still have the same properties you probably find in the Jimny or the Sears in the same dimensions as compared to this particular version. That gives it a great advantage because it's 33% stiffer and yet offers more safety and comfort for the passengers. Speaking of comfort, you do have front McPherson struts, and at the back you have a torsion beam with coil springs to ensure that the car is planted on surface, and of course it also gives you good ground clearance. Again, in terms of safety, Suzuki have not spared anything to ensure that you remain safe on the road. So basically it has a mix of active and passive safety features, including ABS, which is anti-lock braking system, brake assist with EBD, electronic brake force distribution to ensure that you stop perfectly. But in case all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the 6 airbags that are strewn across this cabin, and of course the most important item, the seat belt, to ensure that you and your family remain extremely safe while on the road. And that is something so important in this day and age because even B-segment cars are becoming safer and of course easy to use. Now the question still remains, now what is the value for money proposition of the Baleno? Can it outstand competition such as the Volkswagen Polo? We're going to find out right now as you do the value for money proposition courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trev. So guys, that is a brand new Suzuki Baleno in all its glory, and I can tell you it offers absolute value for money. Strong, efficient engines, and of course the styling is amazing and plenty of space. Now you're wondering, how much does it cost on the road? CMC Motors will actually offer you this car at 2 million shillings VAT inclusive, and will give you a 3-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty, whichever comes first, and you can rely on their extensive network across the country. Now you're wondering, who are the key rivals in this segment? Well, just to think of it, there is the twin, the Toyota Select. I guess you have a wide array of choice to choose from. So, do you ever think that this particular vehicle is better than the rivals? Send us your thoughts as seen on the social media handles below. We'll get back to you next week with the feedback. Well, signing out, this is Big Boy Trev. Drive safe and be safe.